every clean results dashboard is a mess someone decided not to mention. Welcome to Confessions and KPIs. I'm Megan Darcy, and in each episode, I talk with someone brave enough to admit what really went down behind the numbers. Today, in the very first pilot episode, is Klem. I can attempt to say your full name, Clementina, but I'm not going to attempt your surname because I have a record of butchering names. So, welcome, Clem. If your brand voice has ever felt like it's going through an identity crisis, Clem can help. She is a copywriter, strategist, and brand therapist of sorts. She helps businesses stop sounding like robots and start sounding like themselves again. I hope that describes what you do.
I love that, brand therapist. I'm going to use it sometime.
What's the hardest thing about explaining brand voice to people who think it's just a style guide?
With the brand voice guide, it's a bit of like a Harley. If you have to ask, you'll never know. It's a question of, especially in larger organizations, if it's treated as a tick box exercise, it's going to be used as a filed document that rots somewhere in a forgotten drawer. Now, those to whom you don't have to explain that get it straight away. And they treat it as a living document, as a cheat sheet to what your brand voice like, as a guide to what's already inside. Because brand guides never work if they are like a sticker. They will peel off. And now I am wanting for a good summertime melting ice cream or peeling a banana metaphor. But what I mean is that it has to come from the inside. If somebody just wants to snap it on to you, it's never going to stick. And that's what is the hardest thing to explain. Those that want the brand guide, make me a brand guide, give me a brand guide. It doesn't come from the outside. It's an extraction exercise. It's an unraveling exercise. It is show me mine, I'm show you yours type of exercise. It's comparison and admiration in the best sense. It's finding what works within your brand and using it for the better, for better reach, for better effect, for easy development on messages, because it's such a useful tool when it shortens decision making at an unbelievable rate. I'm sure there are statistics somewhere, and if not, somebody should write a PhD about that. Because on practical days, if you're thinking, what the hell am I going to write about? You have your brand promise, your mission, vision. These are your content sources. You have your brand tone and voice. These are your formatting guidelines. And whether you're using human or digital assistants, these are the borders of the box that are going to assist you to stay within your brand zone that you love and that you really are, and sound like you're on a good day, even if you're a bad day.
So, as a sub question to this, could you explain what a brand actually is? Because a lot of people kind of defer to that. A brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's kind of like a very high level way of explaining what a brand is. So, could you just tell us whether it's a large company or small company? It's essentially boiled down to the same kind of one liner. What is a brand?
Brand is the intersection of your personal story and your brand story. Is one propelling and enhancing the other. Is where your past, your origins, your current state, and your ambitions meet and are being expressed so that it happens. That's not really a very practical way. Yes, for
How does
something
that
more
actually
lofty.
help you? How does that help you sell a product? Because if I'm looking for, I don't know, a glass that holds 500 mils of water, why would I buy your glass and not a glass from your competitor? It would obviously come down to quality, etc. But the personality that's communicated through the marketing is kind of what makes it connect to the company. At least how I understand it.
So for the purpose of this conversation, let's assume that both glasses are of similar quality, size, and price. What would make you choose the one on the left, the one to the left, the one to the right? Assuming that they tick the basic boxes of what the product represents. If one has no story at all or has contradicting information about it, that's probably a propeller. Propeller, no, that's the other word that says that you don't want to me. A deterrent that makes you not want to reach for it if you care about such things. The one on the right, if it meets you on values, saying we are ethically sourced, we recycle, we are not too big, not too small. Doesn't really matter what size the company is. If they own their size, if they say what they are right now, don't wait for the brand to happen when they are bigger, larger, faster, stronger. That appeals because you're meeting the customer in the moment that they are right now and you align it with the moment that you as a brand are right now. So you asked what a brand is. Brand is everything you are right now. However big you are, however many systems you have in place or are developing, what tone and voice you are using. And I'm using the tone and voice rather than tone of voice because I believe that you have a voice always and the tone adjusts depending on the situation. So brand is the taking the duffel coat away and saying, this is what I am underneath. And doing it with pride.
Awesome. A statistic you've seen clients obsess over that actually says nothing about brand strength.
That is the number of impressions that they come across on socials. It is part of the ecosystem. It is good to see them rising, but they do not necessarily automatically translate to engagement, to sales, which is what we are out there for at the end of the day, to share the value and to get value. So I've seen people obsess over, oh, this post got 1,400, it was seen 1,400 times within 24 hours. Great. What does that mean? So if you don't know what that means, it's a non-information because it's just a ego massaging number. It's nice to see, and congratulations on that. Made continue. How are you going to use it? What does that mean? Are you going to analyze this content and build on that to start growing? If it's just a one shot out there, it doesn't really mean a thing. There are brands, especially in the service business, that are not really getting that much engagement on socials, but they are brilliant businesses and they are getting clients. So it's knowing what it means to you, and this impressions is one number that people often and brands, especially in the smaller side, misinterpret or try to or imprint on and find their meaning and validity as a business because they have so many impressions. It's part of it. It means that you're doing something good. Try to hone in what that something is and try to replicate it and translate that what that means to the other part of the business.
Yeah. Second question: a word counts that proved less is more. In my opinion, it's any digital text.
That's true. The alt text, for instance. But to me, I've been thinking about it. I'm going to use the 140, the original number of characters we had in a tweet when Twitter was still Twitter. And the success of that proves that it works. If you can distill your message to a 120 character hook, that makes people do something. That's a good thing. I was thinking about it and I was choosing about between 140 and 160, which is the original text message, how many characters text message allowed. If you can send a message within 160 characters to activate someone to go pick you up, get something for you and bring home, the same rules apply.
Yeah, interesting. Micro text is an art form all in itself. alt text, any kind of micro copy is, yeah, it's, I think, was it Ernest? I never remember who to attribute it to. It was either Hemingway or Twain that said, "I'm sorry I had to write such a long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one." So yeah.
It is. That's why if people ask, for instance, how much is a website and how long is a piece of string, it's not about the length of text. Long text is great. Short text is great as long as it's relevant.
Mm, mm,
But with the 140 characters, it's kind of a good exercise to have in mind because we all deal with call to actions with text that we need to put in buttons. And if you can do it within that framework, I think it's a nice challenge accepted type of moment.
mm.
Remembering that 140 used to work.
Uh, Third question. A number that convinced the skeptical clients that story-driven copy works.
Before. That was a number from a headline that I used in my early days as a very, very green copywriter at an advertising agency. I was teamed with a new creative graphic designer, and he was very skeptical. He thought, she's very softy. And we had a campaign that meant that there was a sort of a sales promotion, and the clients were getting a calendar as a bonus. It was free of charge, and the headline was for 364 days gratis. 364 days for free, and that was the headline that convinced him that actually, there's something in it. To me, this means reminds me that sometimes being creative means going very, very literal. You don't have to be very abstract to be creative.
Yeah,
And sometimes that's capturing that simplicity of what a product or a service is the best way of getting the message across.
I get told that my headlines are too creative. I've got another podcast, and we've been kind of tweaking on optimizing it. And the co-host of that podcast told me that I need to make the headlines more boring to get people to click. So yeah, it's one of my kind of faults, I suppose, is I'm always trying to be too clever when actually the literal thing or the literal explanation might be the most optimal.
I can see how that sort of is linked with how we perceive things. Hmm. Cut that out. Because neuroscience tells us that we hone in on what's familiar, and if we go to abstract, we are losing that connection. So you can still use your very creative headlines later down the copy when you're expanding on the idea. But
Mm,
I had that conversation recently, 2 conversations actually, about somebody trying to introduce new product and battling. How do I do it? It's what they know, but not how they know it. Do I start banging on the newness or on the difference, or do I start what they are familiar with? And in both cases, my thinking process is meet them where they are, what they know. It's a but basically grab their hand. If you're holding hands with them, you're working together, and then you can guide them to this new path. Because otherwise, it's hard to make that connection if we are asking our audiences to do the work in linking the 2 concepts, and their thinking process may be widely different than ours. Different
yeah,
biases,
yeah.
different filters. Sometimes it's a good challenge to pose to them.
I'm going to put you in the hot seat and pose some hypothetical situations to you based on your area of expertise. So you have got 30 seconds to explain the story space framework to a skeptical SEO. And just to provide some context to the viewers, you develop this framework space to develop brands, etc., etc. So you've got 30 seconds. What's your pitch?
Your
No
brand is
pressure.
Thank you. In a true Blue Peter spirit, here's one I prepared earlier. Your brand is an ecosystem, and story space gives it structure. So story is your origin, your values, your why. Personality, how you show up, the tone and voice. Audience, what they care about and how they react, where the overlap is. Communication, choosing the right format, the channel and frequency. And then evolution, how your voice grows with your business. So it's how you stay consistent without sounding like a robot and how you sound human without winging it.
Yeah. Awesome. And just so that people know, do you have any resources on this space framework on your website that we can direct them to?
I do have an overview, and there is a fantastic 7-minute presentation summarizing the project.
Awesome. We'll pop those in the show notes for you. All right, next hypothetical. You're told we don't need a brand voice, we just need SEO. What's your response?
Well, if you just need SEO, you're going to be propelling somebody else's product to the market. Because without brand voice, how can you know what good words there are for you? Which words are best for you? You will be just honing on what's out there in the market, and that's not necessarily what it might bring it to your page, but you're not going to do anything with that attention. My view on copywriting, on content, is that SEO is the thing that brings it to your space, and then good copy needs to grab it and convert it and lead it further. It's what the next step is role for the copy. So if you don't have a brand voice but just want SEO, you will be spending money on somebody else's product effectively.
That's a great way to get them to relook at the strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're, you'll be straight. If I want to be really direct, you'll be lying to your client because you won't be promoting what your product, your service is about. So you will be creating a space for disappointment rather than a space for your brand or product. Somebody will click on a word that is not related to you, and that's not really a good impression to make.
What is the best copywriting advice that you give to others but don't always follow yourself?
Yeah, one paragraph, one message. And the beauty of this is, some time ago I wrote I wrote an article on the simplicity of messaging and how you should use this one thing, one job approach, and I absolutely overloaded it with at least it should have been 4 articles at a minimum. It was a great opportunity to then repurpose it because it fed my content for about a week and a half. But yeah, that's the thing. It's very getting just over enthusiastic, and yes, and I can read about this, and this leads to that thought. Oh, I have another idea, and here we go, and yeah. So allow your paragraphs to do one job. You are not going to sell everything in one headline and in one paragraph, but one paragraph can just guide to what the next step is. So please be clear on that. Or if you're really, really, really super creative and super enthusiastic, dump everything on the page, but then dissect it and turn it into 4 or 5 or 8 articles if they lean themselves to it, rather than just leave them within the first draft version.
What is one word that you secretly hate but you use all the time? I believe you have 3.
It's not that I use it. Pivot was one that recently. Exactly. I found myself using it in conversations with clients when describing change of direction, and when it was like pivot, it started hurting my assets. So I decided to roll that away. And actually, that question made me think about other words that are being overused, and it just spiraled in a list of about 18 that tend to be overused in the industry but have meatier equivalents. And it gave me 2 lists. The top of the words was authentic, work-life balance, live your best self, And yeah, pivot is probably more of a personal one. But then it got me thinking, is it just a copywriter's rant about being authentic? Or is it really being overused and just smushed to oblivion by everybody? They are, because to be honest, it's not about me liking the word or not. That doesn't matter. What matters is whether the brand knows whether it's the right word for them. And if they tell me to use it, I'm going to use it. Yeah, and we can choose to use it. Operative word, choose. If you make a decision to do it, doesn't matter if everybody else is using it because it's true to you. It's right for you. It's a good word for you. So keep using it. The fashion for it is going to come and go, and you're going to be a stronger brand for it.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Klem. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and we'll continue chatting about all kinds of things once we stop when I press the unrecord, stop record. I am literate, I promise. But yeah, thank you to everyone for watching. If you've made it this far into the episode, don't forget to subscribe. I've got some cool guests lined up. Show notes will have links to Klem's stuff. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.